feels emotions. It's sort of a human reflex, but it can be confusing. The mood meter is a way not only for us to attach a word to their feelings, but also it's a visual symbol, so which is great for preschoolers.
Yale started partnering with schools to figure out what does social emotional learning look like. Ruler is an evidence-based approach to social emotional learning that spans from birth all the way through high school. My name is Craig Bailey, and I am the Director of Ruler for Early Childhood at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. Ruler stands for 5 key skills of emotional intelligence: recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating emotions. We found that a lot of teachers feel that what they need more to be successful is they need more support in teaching children about their emotions. They need more support in managing their own emotions because they want to be a model for their students. That's what teachers indicated they needed. And by targeting children's social and emotional skills, we not only boost their social competence, their ability to interact with their teachers and peers, but we also boost their ability to learn. So when children are coming from impoverished environments, for example, they're bringing the stress and the emotions of those environments into the classroom, and that ends up being a barrier to their success. One of the things that we say is that emotions are information, and the information is there. Part of your emotional intelligence is recognizing what emotions are there, but then using that information in a way that is productive and meaningful. For some teachers, one of the benefits of Ruler is simply to really turn the lights on to all of the emotions that are being experienced and are fluctuating throughout the day, and then taking that and channeling it and using it in a productive way. If you're a teacher who notices that my students are in the yellow, they're very excited right now, what strategy can I use to bring their energy level down so I can conduct a storybook read aloud, where I'd rather have children in the green, a little bit more calm. So I can use the information and I can just attach a pedagogical tool. I can potentially sing a song or do an activity that brings their energy level down. Our emotions are not static. They're very much dynamic. They're very much driven by our reactions to moment-by-moment changes. One of the roles of the educator is to help a child not only recognize what their feelings are, but to help that child potentially shift their emotional experience to an emotion that might be a little bit more conducive to the learning that the teacher wants that child to go through over the course of the day. Children's emotions are constantly fluctuating in various ways throughout the day, which is actually one of the reasons why an educator's job is so challenging. They're not just having to deal with their own emotional fluctuations throughout the day, but the fluctuations of one child and another child and another child. And so tools like the mood meter help a teacher to get a sense of how all children are feeling in the classroom. So if I'm a teacher and I notice that children are checking in the red or in the blue, I can shift my educational approach. I can shift the pedagogy that I'm going to use. I can use a particular transition strategy to shift children from one quadrant to another.
I think the most important thing that we do is we help them build self-awareness about how they feel, about what's happening with them emotionally, and it helps them with relationships with each other. It helps them deal with the disappointment in their day-to-day life, like a missed hug with mom at the door. And instead of sort of falling apart, they learn how to tap into how they're feeling. They know what emotion that goes to. They have the tool. They can go to the mood meter, put themselves on the blue, get a hug from the teacher, but still kind of move through their routine without sort of having a tantrum and falling apart. They learn how to self-regulate, and they're in tune with how they're feeling.
And not any emotion is a bad emotion. Mm-hmm. And I think, growing up when we were younger, that was sort of taught. You shouldn't be mad or you shouldn't be sad. You should just be happy all the time. And I think what's great for the children at this young age is to sort of validate. There's times when it's appropriate to be mad. If somebody knocks over your tower, the appropriate feeling is you should be mad. But then what do you do with it? Do you go and punch your friend? Do you knock his tower down? And that's where we can intervene, and that's where we can use the mood meter and say, how do you feel? You're feeling mad now. Let's put yourself on that. Let's label it. Let's discuss it. And then how can you appropriately respond? You can say, that made me angry. I really don't like it when you do that. And they can start to work out those feelings in an appropriate way.
teachers are already reading storybooks, they're already focusing on literacy, and now we're enhancing that experience. We're enhancing the education that's already happening in a classroom. For a school like Adam J. Lewis, all the essential ingredients were already there before we started working with them. What we gave them is the shared language, we gave them the tools, we gave them direction, and then they took it and ran with it. But the essential ingredients were already there. We didn't give them a strong emotional climate. That emotional climate was already there.
I mean, I think we all, human beings, need to regulate our emotions, and we all know plenty of adults that have not learned what we're teaching in preschool. The idea that we are going to be feeling emotions all the time, things are going to elicit an emotional reaction from us all the time, but how we deal with it depends on how successful we are, and that's in school or in life, in a job, in a relationship. And if you start young, and I think that's what's so critical about using and teaching emotions and having it be a large component of the curriculum, is so that they start to learn and be aware of all their emotions, and as they get older, they learn different skills to regulate it, and that's going to make them a much more productive human being.
If you want children to talk more about emotion, then you have to talk more about emotion as an adult. It requires you to increase your emotional vocabulary. And many of us, we overestimate how much we talk about emotions in our own lives. And yet, we're always asking children to use their words. Use your words, we're constantly saying to children, and yet we don't even use the words we want them to be using. We're setting up expectations for children in education where it's almost like we're wanting children to develop emotion vocabulary out of nowhere. If you want children to talk more about emotion, you have to talk more about emotion. But do you?
We're in the green, feeling calm and relaxed because we just had a great tennis match.
We're yellow, and we're very happy because we just played some great competitive tennis.
We are in the blue today because Julie isn't here for filming.
Spending time with my family always puts me in the yellow.
We're yellow. She doesn't know the words, but I do. Woo!
We're happy because we work out and exercise together.
Yeah.
I'm in the yellow because Patty comes every day.
We're mad. We ran out of time
To win.